Did you know you can get drunk off of tea? In Chinese tea, you always pour out the first little steep. Everybody knows their neighbor helps out their neighbor. I think it's really the biggest in West Virginia. Oh, I already like tea, but there's more to it.
Ooh, steam on that thing.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Look at this view. Man, this is great. I'm here in Hinton, West Virginia. We're getting ready to go into this shop called the Fox and the Ferry Tea House. It is a tea house. It's not a coffee shop. It is a tea house, and so we're gonna go check that out. We're gonna eat some food, gonna drink some tea. I think we're gonna learn a little bit about tea and stuff like that, and just have what I think is gonna be one of the more unique experiences here in Appalachia. Look at that beautiful view right here on the river. Hinton's a beautiful town. So anyway, let's go in the shop, check it out. Hey. Hey. I'm not gonna bother you. I'm not gonna bother you. Aw, good puppy. You're a tea shop, like
Yes.
specifically a tea shop.
Yeah.
That's gotta be, there's nothing else like that around here, no?
No, we're actually, so there's 3 in the state total, and we're the only one in Southern.
3 in the state?
Yep.
Wow, okay. What was the thought on having a tea shop versus like the coffee? Just something different?
Something different, and as a tea lover and a tea enthusiast, I always run into the problem going to coffee shops where you go in and they're like, tea is on the menu. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll have tea, and they throw me a tea bag and a cup of water.
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't tea.
How many different types of teas do you have?
Oh.
Is that a loaded question?
Yes.
Okay.
There's roughly...
Okay. Let's...
we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20,
Okay.
21, 22. I have 23 types of like traditional tea.
Good Lord. I didn't know there was that many types of tea.
Oh, there's more. I don't have them all yet.
I gotcha.
There's hundreds. You know, you have to understand that tea has been around for 5,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
As a plant, we've moved it and cultivated it and changed it, and it's put in different processes, and even today there's still new tea being developed in different ways than there was back then, or even 10 years ago.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Do most people order it hot? I'm assuming it comes hot, yeah? Or you can get hot or cold?
You can get hot or cold. We've got 4 on cold brew specifically right now, and it depends on. It's really weather dependent.
What is your best seller? What do most people get? Is there a specific one?
So our best seller is, we have a blend called the Strawberry Dragon Blend. It tends to be our best seller just because a lot of people like strawberries.
Sure, yeah, strawberry rules.
And then after that, it's probably our typical Earl Grey or English breakfast. I wouldn't say it's because that they're the best teas. I think it's mostly because people know them better.
Gotcha.
It's closer to what you'd find, being written on a tea bag, English breakfast or stuff like that.
Do you have like a tea flight or anything?
So we don't.
Like a sample thing?
Kind of. So we do. We offer individual cups of tea, which a lot of other tea places won't do. You go in and you'll be served like a whole pot, and that's really your only option.
Gotcha.
So being able to do just the singular cups at a cheaper price versus, you've got to buy this $18 pot to even try this tea is kind of how we do our tastings.
Okay. And Hinton, do you stay pretty busy? Because Hinton's not overly big, but I guess you probably get runoff from just people driving this road right here.
We get runoff that way, and then Hinton is also a pretty heavy travel destination.
Sure.
And when we get the warm weather, we get a bunch of people coming for the nature and all the river especially is a huge draw. And a lot of people have campers and cabins in the area, and they'll only come down between Labor Day and Memorial Day.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very good.
oh my gosh.
Melted tea sandwich. And then this is my favorite tea that we have here. It's a Tanbei Taiguan Yin. Translates to charcoal roasted iron goddess of mercy.
Okay, all right.
It's a Taiwanese oolong.
Taiwanese, okay. And then, so taste it with, do you drink it with sugar or no? I'm gonna taste it without, of course, but.
Fix it up how you like it.
Okay.
But definitely, try it raw and then fix
And then
it
go
to
from
your own
there?
taste. I'm not gonna judge, I promise.
Let's get, we're gonna taste the tea first, then we're gonna eat this. Look how melty that cheese is, good Lord. All right, that's gonna be amazing. Tasting the tea, no sugar, of course. The tea is good. That is very, very good. Yeah, that is a... Man. It's got flavor. I don't know what to... I'm very new to tea, so I don't know what to exactly say that tastes like. But it's very good. It's not... Obviously, it's not sweet. There's no sugar in it. But it has such a good, clean taste. Oh my God, it's so good. All right, look at this thing. This thing is... This is the best. Oh my God. That is a wow. That's so melty. So like the cheese is so gooey. Oh my gosh.
Bread, you cry and hear the crunch.
Yeah, the crunch of the bread.
If I can't hear that crunch in the back and then somebody bites into it, I done something wrong.
Man.
Oh, that's a good crunch.
Man, oh.
Captain Crunch.
That is a crunchy, savory, cheesy, absolutely perfect sandwich. Oh my gosh. And that's what you're that's your thing here. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So what? It's cheese, bacon. It looks like.
So it's 4 different kinds of cheese, 5 slices.
4 different kinds of cheese. Okay.
3 kinds of meat plus bacon, because that's still technically pig meat.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
So yeah, it's slice of turkey, ham, chicken, and then 3 slices of bacon.
Oh my gosh.
And it's
This is a
sourdough.
This is a sourdough. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a gourmet sandwich. That's. That is making me really happy. I'm not even sure the words to describe it, because good Lord. And the tea is a great compliment to it. Like I never thought that tea would be such a great compliment to a grilled cheese sandwich, but it
Here
does.
We are, right?
Yeah, because it's nothing that like takes away from the flavor. Like if you have like a soda or something and like just what it does to your mouth with that carbonation and stuff, the tea is just a nice, it's a thing, something to get something to drink, but the flavor of that sandwich is still there. And that's what I want. Oh my gosh. That crunch, that bread is toasted perfect. I don't know how you got it so crunchy and it's not burned. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Look at the steam on that thing.
Oh yeah, I need to bring the urn for polish.
Last little bite.
I don't know but I can bring his picture. I'll bring his picture. Mom would love to do that.
So we're getting ready to do a tea ceremony, which is pretty cool because I've never done one of these. And that's cool that I'm the first place I'm doing it is here in Appalachia. We're doing like a Chinese tea ceremony. How long have you been into tea, like, and studying about it?
So I've been drinking tea as long as I can remember.
And not like McDonald's sweet tea.
No,
like
no,
tea.
no.
Yeah.
Well, not this far, but at least, standard tea bags and things like that. Most American people are
Yeah.
into. My grandmother was the type of person you walked into her house and first thing out of her mouth, you want something to eat or a cup of tea?
Right.
And I've kind of modeled this place after that and those words.
I love it.
So, So I think when I was like somewhere between 11 or 13, I was wandering a mall one day and I wandered into a store called Tijuana, which used to be a big thing. And that's kind of what introduced me into loose leaf tea.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I already like tea, but there's more to it than that. And that started a lot of learning and research and personal interest, and my parents bought me some tea and some stuff to do it, and kind of just took off from there.
That's amazing.
So what we're going to be drinking is this little thing. So this is a type of tea called pu'er. This particular one is known as sticky gelatinous rice aroma pu'er, and if you want to smell that.
Oh wow. It's very earthy, which I mean, it's tea. I guess it's tea leaves, but it's good. It's good. I like it. Texture of it was really. It's really.
Yeah, these are aged teas. So that's a mini one. I've got a couple bigger ones.
These are individual. Okay.
Those are individual servings.
Oh
You've got
wow.
another size that's like this. These are about 100-gram servings. They have tons into that, but it's pressed. They press them into these discs.
Okay.
And the original concept back a few thousand years ago was that, you know, they started on the Silken Road. They needed a way to move tea
Okay.
easily on the horses and the camels
Sure.
and the mules they were using. So they're like, oh, well, we'll just compress it into these discs, and then you can stack them up.
Stack them up. Right. That makes sense.
You can stack them up really easily.
That's beautiful.
So they'd stack them up, and then they'd strap them up, and they'd have these bundles. And what they discovered, though, is as they were moving these bundles of tea, the people, you know, it takes months to years of that time to get where the trail was eventually going. They travel from, you know, the coast of China to Tibet, to places in Europe, to Turkey and things like. They would do that on horse.
Wow.
And as they were going along, they'd break into their tea and they'd, you know, get themselves some set up. And they found that during that time, the tea was changing flavor. It was becoming darker, it was becoming more pungent, more earthy, more powerful in terms of caffeine. And they found out that it was completely different at the end of the journey than when they
At the beginning.
at the beginning, and they kind of just started playing into that and doing it on purpose. And they went into the science when we got the technology for it, and they found that essentially what's happening is that the natural organisms in the tea that come from the wild are continuing to age and ferment the tea in the blocks.
Okay.
So now you can get several different kinds of tea. You can get tea that sits and is aged, you know, about 20 years. It's called choupware.
Whoa.
They've got ones that they do real quick now. They can get the flavor they're looking for in a few years in comparison.
Does that? I'm assuming that with something that would be aged that long, it would cost, just because of the time into it, it would cost like substantially more, probably.
The prices do go up. It depends on, you know, how the flavor during that time or after that time.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll see some of these will go for thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Then you've got these other cakes. These are called sheng cakes or unripe cakes. This is still from 2016.
That's from 2016.
Yes, this was harvested and pressed in 2016, and it's still considered unripe. And these are fun because when you buy them, you get to sit and experience the aging process. So you'll buy it. A lot of people will buy it for like anniversaries or birthdays or weddings or significant events. So they'll have a little bit then, and they'll put it away for that anniversary date the next year, and the next year take it out, and they'll have cakes that'll last 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
So then as they're doing that, then they themselves are tasting the change year to year.
Yep.
That's a really cool idea.
My plan for this one is when we get to about halfway, I'm going to stop selling this one to customers, and then I'm going to take it back on every tier. I bought that one on my birthday and our 6-month mark, so I think every year I'm going to bring it back out.
Yeah,
that's my birthday cake.
Your birthday cake, yeah, that's cool. I love it. I actually study Chinese, and so and learning about their culture, and of course a lot of the stuff I learn is Taiwan, of course, but yeah, China, I love Chinese. That's what I love the language, and there's a lot of interesting stuff. So I've learned a lot of stuff about China, especially, you don't drink cold drinks. You have to make sure you drink them warm because it leads to body dampness and things like that. And so tea is something that I know I do know a little bit about it just because of my study of Chinese, but not anything that in depth.
That's fair. Did you know you can get drunk off of tea? So, especially green teas and shade grown tea is probably the best for it. But they contain a chemical called L-theanine. Okay. And L-theanine is a natural sedative, but it's also really good for you. It helps regulate your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your heart rate. And helps. It's the chemical that stops you from getting the jitters from tea, and helps with the clarity and that calm zen feeling. Okay. But if you have a whole bunch of it, then you can get yourself a little. You can get drunk. Wow. But the reason shade-grown green teas specifically are best for it is because the tea tree, the tea plant, will actually turn the L-theanine in the leaves into catechins that it uses as sunblock.
So, oh wow!
So you take out the sun, which you can either do naturally or you can do artificially. In Japan, they do it artificially with like shade nettings to get a tea called Kyokuro. And then there are some teas you'll find naturally, like I've got one here called Maojin, that where they are being grown in the mountains, there is so much cloudage, kind of like we get here. When it gets really cloudy, the clouds are always like in the mountaintops. Yeah. Well, they're there constantly. So the tea is always being grown inside the clouds, and it's called mist and cloud. Okay. So these guys are tea pets. And in Chinese tea, you always pour out the first little steep. And that's to, 1, get a little bit of the impurities out, and 2, it's not really the strongest. And you can get some of these little eckies out. Okay. And instead of just, pouring it onto the ground, the clay makers decided to make little figurines. And what they found is that if you give them a bunch of tea over time, they'll collect all the tea residue and they'll change colors. This guy, if you place him right, he actually makes bubbles and happy sounds. He's got a little hole in his bottom. That's amazing. Let the heat change, does some fun things. And then he's just a little regular one. But they even got ones that will spit water out and do some fun things like that.
That's amazing.
You can see now that it's started to open up. The leaves have been primed. You can get a really good smell on that.
Oh yeah, wow, that's good. It almost like took a second for it to get fully to my brain. That's really.
So this is a type of clay known as purple sand clay. Okay. And the neat part about this clay is that it's porous, and the idea is that it collects the flavor of the tea as it sits in there. Okay. And the longer you use these, the more it collects the flavors over time. It actually changes the glaze. Like they'll start really, really shiny, and then they'll go all the way to like this matte finish. Okay. Over time.
So like seasoning a grill almost.
Yeah, almost. Like a cast iron, you know how you use a cast iron over and over and over, and over time it just gets better and better flavor that you get off of it. Right. Same kind of concept. Okay. But only but this time with tea. And some people will have a teapot for each different kind of tea, like green or white or black/red. Okay. But some people will even go to the point where they'll do it for each individual kind of tea. Like this pot is for Longjin, this pot is for this kind of pu'er, this pot is for, and they'll just keep doing that. Okay. So after decades or so, that pot will make the best
of
that tea.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess if you would like quote unquote cross-contaminate them, it would obviously make a different flavoring.
Yes. This one gets an amalgamation just because I'm not that particular, and I think that it's just going to make good tea.
Yeah.
So the idea with Gung Fu as compared to like Western brewing is, with Western brewing you use a little bit of tea, put it in the water, 3 to 5 minutes generally speaking, done. Serve it. Gung Fu, the idea is, well, we've got, tea is expensive. We've got good tea. Let's figure out the best way to make the good tea last the longest, the most taste. So in this style, we do lots of little short steepings of maybe starting at like 30 seconds.
Okay.
So that instead of just, 1 cup of tea, you get multiple cups of tea where the flavor kind of takes this little journey.
Gotcha, because you're drinking one that's steeped a little bit less, and then by the time you get to the next one, that one's steeped a little bit more. Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Friend.
Oh yeah.
And generally speaking, this first one will be the lightest, and then it'll start picking up more and more in flavor.
More. Okay. Yeah, I love the. Like, I know it's stupid to say because it's tea leaves, right? Obviously, it's going to be an earth, but I like kind of that earthy. It's got
Pours definitely have a very particular earthiness to them that is very unique to pu'er. It's really hard to get that flavor on any non-aged tea.
It's a unique, like it tastes completely different from the tea that I had just a minute ago. It's crazy that a plant can produce so many different kinds of, or there can be that many different kinds of like a tea plant or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool.
Oh yeah. It's really unique how many different ways that they've figured out not only to grow the tea, but to also post-process the tea. And it's all just one plant, and a lot of people don't know that. Like green tea, white tea, black tea, red tea, yellow tea, purple tea, pu'er, it's all one plant.
Okay.
And just depending on how they process it, when they pick it, how long they oxidize the leaves afterwards, what they do with the leaves afterwards, it all produces different results.
Oh, see, I definitely would have been in the same. I would have thought that there would have been different like tea plants. Okay, that's very interesting.
Yep, it's all Camellia sinensis is the Latin term for it.
Okay, the Chinese are onto something. Like something being warm doesn't mean it's not refreshing, or it doesn't mean like, and it's warm outside today, but it's still refreshing because it has that fresh taste. It's
the Chinese refer to it as the tea's energy. So they drink hot tea on a cold day to warm them up, and then they drink hot tea on a hot day to cool them off.
Yeah.
And it's also a status symbol over there too. So tea is often given as gifts or like rewards for jobs and things like that. It's almost like giving somebody flowers or it's just so common. So when you go to give somebody a gift, if you spent a lot of money on that tea, it's all packaged in gold and beautiful things. It's almost like, this is I'm showing you my status.
Right. Okay. Well, that one's hot. Oh, it's hot. That's good. Man. Yeah, so this place is actually Hinton. For anybody who doesn't know, like the town kind of splits this like river, because there's part of it on this side and I think part of it's on the other side. But yes, so you can come down here and sit on this table and just, yeah. It's so, Hinton is so weirdly nice. It's so soothing. Look at that. There's great views. Like, I never thought a bridge would be cool to look at, and it just fits.
I hear the eeriest thing, like the most dystopian thing. When it gets like dark and really, really like foggy, the only thing you could see is the lit up McDonald's sign.
Oh,
casting a strange glow on the bridge.
The McDonald's sign stands above all else. That's hilarious. Yeah. Then of course here's where they've carved out the mountain for roads and stuff like that. And then the train.
There was actually at one point a road. You can see there was a bridge over here. You can kind of see where it was over there. And then it connected right there.
Connected over here? Okay.
Right across.
Gotcha. I guess they just tore that down once they built this one.
This building is actually rather old. I think the oldest photo I've got of it is from 1950.
Nice, a big building. I'm assuming there's either people live up there or Airbnbs up there?
Yeah, the people living up there.
People living up there.
And then my landlord's going to change the other half of it to Airbnbs. He's going to, his wife is an artist, so he's putting in an art gallery next to us. And then he wants to put a little like cork and ale, wine and beer.
Nice.
Mini bar.
You know, I think an Airbnb is a good idea because I've said this before at probably every video I've done, but I think there's such an interest in small town America right now. Yeah. I think people are getting tired of cities. They're tired of the crap that goes on in cities. Not that necessarily here doesn't have its own problems, but it's different problems. People stay to themselves here. People want that small town, and I'm not saying small town Appalachia, small town America. Like just that, get away from that crap.
Yeah, no. The internet communities and things like that. Everybody knows their neighbor helps out their neighbor.
Yeah,
it's great, especially here in West. I think it's really the biggest in West Virginia.
Yeah, I think so too. People from here are very. What's funny is if you're from West Virginia, you're the only person that's allowed to bash the state. But as soon as an outsider does it, you're ready to fight.
Yep,
it's hilarious. I love it.
See the door?
Right over. Oh yeah, I do.
Okay. So at one point in the past, there used to be a porch there. And for about 28 years, this was the local pharmacy.
Okay.
So what ended up happening is for like 3 straight years in a row, around Halloween time, some redneck would come down into a boat, lasso onto the back porch with a garden hose. He'd climb up, break into the pharmacy, and steal all the Black Beauty diet pills.
Wow.
Which, if you don't know what those are, back in the day, it was basically a mix of Adderall and meth.
Okay.
And they sold it for diet purposes.
Interesting.
You could get
Adderall and meth. What a great combination.
Go look that up. The Black Beauty diet.
So he would boat in here, lasso up there, climb up, and break in.
After like the 3rd year, Mr. Butler, who was Butler's Pharmacy, he was like, "No, we're done with the porch.
Just cutting the porch off.
Just take it out."
That's amazing. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's amazing. That's a story of prevailing where you need to. He had his mind made up. He was ready to go. Got an Arnold Palmer here. Oh yeah, that is good. That is so tasty. It's not as definitely not as sweet as the canned ones, which is good. It's actually perfect. Tastes way fresher. This place rules. Man, what a fantastic place. Awesome people, very, very friendly. Great tea. Just being able to have a little bit more than just, you know, soda and sweet tea and stuff. Like you can actually get like a variety of teas and things like that. Absolutely perfect place. Great view over here on the river. It's actually a pretty booming little road. This is a great little location. Several customers came in, so they stay. It looks like they stay somewhat busy. Very, very nice. The sandwich was incredible. I had a great time here. Stop in and get a tea ceremony. Let them tell you about the tea, the history of tea, how it is, show you those bricks. It was very, very cool, very tasty. One of the more unique experiences I've actually had here in Appalachia. I loved it. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.